Hi, my name is Patrick Anthony Tenyue, aka Patrick Anthony, known as trixx in the game. I am a professional musician, songwriter, producer, arranger and engineer. I started my musical career back in 1978. I was a teenager and the first band I ever joined was a band called Mattock. It was it was an experience that I won't forget. Actually, I really got lucky as I was not really a good trumpet player, but the band accepted me anyway, carried me on, and that's where I learned my craft. With Mattock it was around a couple of years. This band was actually signed to EMI. So coming straight off the streets and right directly into that major environment proved to me very well. The track that was very popular with Mattock at the time that I was there with them was a track called Empire Road, which I actually went on top of the pops as well. Done that. So that was really good. Yeah, my first touring experience was with the band, the act actually called Mattock, and he was with a group of musicians called World Sound and Power, which featured at that time Sly and Robbie. We went on tour together. I think that tour was about 3 to 4 weeks. All this happened within the first year of my existence, with first 18 months with Mattock. Dennis Bovell was the guitarist out of the Mattock band. He was actually pretty much a genius in the band, hence he wrote quite a lot of the songs that in Mattock. But the band, as I said, the band only lasted whilst I was there 2 years. And Dennis went off and started his own band called the Dub Band, which he asked me to join in, as well as my brother. So that's how I got in closer with Dennis. At the same time, we were in the studios a lot, because that's why I learned a lot of engineering skills and production skills from him at the time. Dennis was like the big lovers rock man, working with the likes of John Capai and Janet Kane, Aswad, lots of many different lovers rock artists at the time. The Babylon film was actually before I met up with Linton Kwesi Johnson. This was at the time where I was hanging in the studio. Then he's got me to do some horns on the album. It was actually made for the film, which Brinsley Ford was the lead actor in this film. Right, Rough Cut, yeah, the Rough Cut. Now this is back in 1979 when I first met Rough Cut from over West London. I was introduced to them by a singer-songwriter at the time. His name was Trevor Bow. God rest his soul, no longer with us. But still, we, from the meeting, those early meetings, this band and myself, we worked with so many different artists from Jamaica. We were the #1 backing band at the time in the 80s, all throughout the 80s, and we still work with Rough Cut today. The great Alton Ellis, at the time, he taught me a lot on how to orchestrate bands. I had the biggest band at the time, which was called Mattock 16, which was actually formed by myself, my brother and Levi Roots. We are the nucleus of Mattock 16. Well, because like I'm playing horn, and I kind of like playing all funky and pop music, so I joined up with a lovers rock singer. His name was Lorenzo Horn from the Instigators. He actually was partnership with a drummer who was at one point the drummer for the dub band. His name is Richie Stevens, who now works with Boy George and has been doing Boy George stuff for quite a while. He and Lorenzo had a band called Well Red, got signed to Virgin, and they asked me to help them like writing the productions. I wrote a few songs, and from one of these songs, George Clinton actually came in and produced like 2 of the songs, which were my songs that I wrote with them for their album. Winston Reedy, okay, yeah, Winston Reedy was coming out from he's actually the singer from Cimarrons, an old group back in the day. He went solo, and he was actually doing lovers rock around Bertie Stammer, as Bertie Stammer was the producer at the time. Winston Reedy had a small little outfit called a hard rock band, which he asked myself and my brother to join him as the horn section. So I ended up writing horn parts for his songs, which he was very successful, and from this success apparently got him to contact with the band UB40, which we went out and done a tour with him on a supporting UB40. Well, working with UB40, I've been with them from 1984, as I said, from Winston Reedy Band up until the date 1994. Really, every year we made an album. I wasn't working with them full on for the first few years, like first 5-6 years. I was just like mainly doing a lot of sessions, but like later on in my career with them, we actually got together quite a lot, where we were doing extensive tours. I was like touring for 2 years, and I don't think any other pop band in the world at the time was touring as much. Covered the States umpteen times, basically covered a lot of the part of the world. Was one of the first pop bands to go to Russia back in '85, that was. After leaving UB40, Ali Campbell asked me to work on his first solo project, where I was there. We'd done some recording in Jamaica. He already had few tracks that he recorded himself with various engineers and production teams. Then he left it to myself and Earl Faulkner from Peg Productions, which myself and Earl Faulkner formed a production company called Peg with the engineer. We brought in the engineer, which was Jerry Parchman at the time. He was the mixer and engineer for UB40. This was at the time where Sessions was running. I was actually working with UB40 at the time, and it was a great honour, like Jazzy B, when it was actually the cook wanted to find me, because like they said they were looking for me all the time, and for various reasons why they didn't know how to get hold of me. Well, anyway, we went back down into the hood. My boys called me up and said, "Hey Pat, man, listen, Jazzy B needs to see you, because like we want you on the Soul to Soul record." So this was the second album for Soul to Soul, and the featured singer at the time was Richie Stevens. That was a great pleasure doing that album, and it was different from doing the reggae, which I like, you know, because different styles of music I'm always open to playing. So it was really good getting invited to do this Jazzy B Soul to Soul. Maxi Priest was with, I've known Maxi Priest for quite a long time, even before he actually had any musical career. because we lived in the same area in South London, pretty much the same area in South London, grew up similar together. But Maxi was working, he was having his hits at the time. When he worked with the Mafia, a group called Mafia and Fluxy, two brothers from over Tottenham, that's how we kind of hooked up, and I was privileged just working with him, even just for one gig, you know, a couple of gigs, but that was really good, like working with Maxi Priest at the time. So I got experience of working with him. That was cool. Stingray Productions, that's they're from West London, side of West London, and they are very, very big producers of reggae music in London. Not only producing English artists, but producing a lot of Jamaican acts, including like Freddie McGregor, Beres Hammond, so many, Greg Razek, the list goes on and on, Richie Stevens, the list goes on and on. But they are a respected production team in England. So it was a pleasure also working with these guys. BittoMclean was when I actually touring with UB40, come back one day and BittoMclean was in the studio. I was living in Birmingham at the time, moved from London, lived up in Birmingham. Because like myself and the group got on really good, was working very close together. Actually I was working, doing the live and studio work. And because of the studio work, I got introduced to BittoMclean. This is where, on working with BittoMclean, I actually done a single with BittoMclean. It was actually a Stevie Wonder song, which Ali Campbell was so interested in what we were doing in the studio, and put up our first, put the first money up so we could actually press a couple 500 units, which I done, and that's the starting of myself and BittoMclean. After doing Ali Campbell's album, myself and Earl Faulkner, bass player at UB40, decided to make go into different areas. We started off with Earthquake Promotions, which was like, at the time we were into like drum and bass and jungle music, house music. So like we set up this club that was actually in Birmingham, where we actually ran a nightclub. This club actually ran for like 18 months until we just like petered out. Like we kind of things moved on. We were doing much more. It's like we actually created a production company producing acts, which we the first production that we done was with an artist called Yaz. She was signed to a small independent label, and that was run by Steve Jenkins of Jive Music at the time. So that was pretty good. We done her recording. Same thing was coming out from Peg Productions. We also, myself, Earl, and one other DJ that used to work in a record shop that we knew in Birmingham. He was a very popular house DJ. His name was Lee Fisher. He decided to have a group, put a small little unit with a friend of his, where they were recording an album, and one of the tracks that they've done came out on my label, Boston Records, which was actually put together by myself, Earl Faulkner, and Lee Fisher. We had 3 labels which were pretty successful on the underground scene. On the Rough Tone recording label, we had a track called The Crackman, which was like voted for 4 years the best anti-drug song. It's like I'm totally against the drugs and the usage of drugs, because I know what it actually does to musicians and others. Jazz Jamaica. This was after after the pop world. I wanted to get more experience with my horn myself. So friend of mine, old friend of mine, he was Aswad, the trumpet player. He was actually working with Jazz Jamaica at the time, but couldn't make the gig. So he offered me the tour, which I gladly took up, because I wanted to branch out and practice do something more with my horn. I took the opportunity, and on going with Jazz Jamaica to Japan, I met the likes of Courtney Pine, Roland Alfonso, God bless his soul, he's not around with us now, and Ernest Ranglin, who is #1 guitarist, jazz guitarist from Jamaica. It was an experience that I'll never forget, I'll always cherish, and I would really love to thank Courtney Pine personally one day, because I haven't seen him since this tour, right, for his input to me on teaching me and guiding me in the right steps of playing jazz music. Yeah, actually, after certain productions, going to Germany, doing some productions there, I went to my real home. I know I'm born in England, grew up in London, in Cockney. Well, I'm from East London, but like I've grown up there, and I've always had the calling to go to Jamaica. I've always been going to Jamaica from 1980 every year. So at this point, like at the year 2000, I went to Jamaica and stayed and done more of the family thing, and also was working there as an engineer. This is where I started to do much more engineering than actually playing, which helped me immensely. I was doing a lot of productions with other people and running my own groups. And from there, the engineering job, I was engineering out of a small studio where I had so many big acts come through, where I was engineering. The likes of Mick Jagger, Keith Richards came through, spent 1 week with me. Dave Stewart, Annie Lennox from Eurythmics, Sly and Robbie came up and done a couple of productions. I was engineer. Toots and the Maytals, Jimmy Cliff. There is a few there that came through, and I really appreciate it. Jobs from Russia, from all over the world were actually coming to this small studio, and I was the engineer. This I learned a lot of my craft whilst being in Koyaba Studios. It was really good time for me. I have my projects now. I've got one album that is released. It's called M Concept, where it's a lounge chill out, which is basically all my own doing, work with some friends. I've recorded it in Jamaica and in England and in Germany, 3 different places, working with a few friends, and it is like my first solo project album with a loungy, jazzy type of feel. Just bringing all the experiences that I've got and putting them all in one package. I've got this album, and I've also got an album called Lucrative, which will be finished in the next couple of months, which will be released in the year 2010.